don't even know what does ICE stand for? Immigration. I don't even know what it stands for. Can you look it up?
Yep. Do it, Grad.
Oh no! Tell me what those, because we used to have
immigration and customs enforcement.
Oh, immigration and customs enforcement. Okay, because we used to have a thing called INS, which was Immigration and Nationalization Services, or Naturalization Services, and then after 9/11, the Bush and the Democrats got together to decide to come up with another organization. Well, we're going to talk about that right now. So you know ICE is bad. You know what's been happening. That they're a fascist organization that needs to be gotten rid of. We don't need ICE. In fact, there's a lot of people calling for the abolition of ICE, right? So here's a guy named Sean McElwee. He's from In the Nation. He writes, "It's time to abolish ICE. A mass deportation strike force is incompatible with democracy and human rights." I totally agree. ICE, as it is presently exists, is an agency devoted almost solely to cruelly and wantonly breaking up families. So this idea that people, again, let me disabuse you of this idea that people join law enforcement because they want to do good. If you join ICE, you're a fucking sicko, okay? If you join ICE, you like fucking with people. That's why you join ICE. You don't join ICE because you try to help people. You join ICE because you get your rocks off by fucking with people. And I'll say that to anybody who's in ICE. We don't need you. Go away. You want to help people? Go teach kids to read. Go become a fireman. Go volunteer somewhere. Go become an EMT. Go become a doctor or a nurse. Go become a teacher. You want to help people. You want to be a fascist prick breaking up families? Join ICE. Because that gets your rocks off. So the agency talks about and treats human beings like they're animals. They scoop up people in their apartments or their workplace and then take them miles away from their spouses and their children. Groups like Indivisible Project and the Center for Popular Democracy have also called for defunding ICE. Brand New Congress, a progressive PAC, has the proposal in its immigration platform. So there's a lot of progressive organizations saying defund ICE. ICE is terrorizing American communities. Right now, said Angela Padilla, policy director for the Indivisible Project, they're going into schools, entering hospitals, conducting massive raids and separating children from parents every day. We are funding these activities. Your tax dollars are funding these activities. And we need to use all the leverage we have to stop it. ICE was a direct product of the post-September 11th panic culture and was created in the legislation Congress passed in the wake of the attacks. From the start, the agency was paired with the brand new Department of Homeland Security's increased surveillance of communities of color and immigrant communities. By putting ICE, this is important, by putting ICE under the scope of the Department of Homeland Security, the government framed immigration as a national security issue rather than an issue of community development, diversity, or human rights. So you see what this is? So now we've created this ICE problem of community development or of human rights or diverse. They're treating immigrants as terrorists. That's what's happening. And turns out the terrorists are the victims and we're the Nazis. We're doing shit that I thought only Nazis would do. Tear babies away from their mothers as they're breastfeeding. That's what fucking Nazis do. No, that's what America does. A lot of Americans can't wait to join ICE to do it. And by the way, it didn't start with Trump. We're going to get to that right now. The central assumption of ICE in 2018 is that any undocumented immigrant is inherently a threat to our national safety. In that way, ICE's tactics are philosophically aligned with racist thinkers like Richard Spencer and the writers at the white supremacist journal Dore. Horman, so this guy Horman, who's the acting ICE director, does not apply a light touch when expressing his authoritarian tendencies. So this ICE has become this fascist, authoritarian fucking nightmare creator. And here's what this guy who's the head of ICE has said. He has threatened to jail and prosecute local officials in so-called sanctuary cities that do not fully comply with ICE mandates. That sounds like the Gestapo. That sounds like the SS in Germany. We're going to come in and we have the authority and we're going to imprison. You don't kill these Jews, we'll put the mayor in jail. That's what this sounds like. The agency has also clearly been targeting political opponents for deportations and has worked to deport individuals for speaking to media about ICE. That's happening. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is challenging Joe Crowley in New York's 14th Congressional District, which covers most of the part of the Bronx and Queens, told me, this writer for The Nation, that she believes that after a long and protracted history of sexual assault and uninvestigated deaths in ICE's detention facilities, as well as the corrosive impact ICE has had on our schools, courts, and communities, it's time to reset course. Sergey Patel, a child of immigrants, is running a well-funded insurgent campaign against Democrat incumbent Representative Carolyn Maloney in New York's 12th Congressional District. And this is what Sergey says. Defunding ICE and returning it to be a passport patrol and customs enforcement agency rather than an above-the-law deportation squad is a critical step to protecting all Americans and our civil liberties. So let's go back to what we had before 9/11. An agency that was dealing with passport patrol and customs enforcement. The call to abolish ICE is, above all, a demand for the Democratic Party to begin seriously resisting an unbridled white supremacist surveillance state that it had a hand in creating. Remember, the Democrats joined George Bush to create ICE. ICE hasn't always been here. We don't fucking need ICE. Though the party has moved left on core issues from reproductive rights to single-payer health care, it has not done that. It's time for progressives to put forward a demand that deportation be taken not as the norm, but rather as a disturbing indicator of authoritarianism, because it is. Remember Nancy Pelosi saying we're going to defund ICE. We're not voting for the next thing. We're going to defund. They're not doing that. Because as I'm going to show you in a second, Kamala Harris supports ICE. The senator from the bluest of the blue states. This is from Vox. Pretty much, this is great. This is from Vox. By pretty much any quantitative measure, arrests, deportations, the share of all deportees who had no criminal record, any year of Obama's first term saw more aggressive immigration enforcement than Trump's first year. So by any measure, the Obama administration was much tougher on immigrants their first year than Trump was. By any measure. By any measure, Obama's first year was worse for immigrants than Trump's. Think about that. And then wonder why 30-some% of Hispanics voted for Trump. But because ICE was being run by a Democrat, one who had promised to legalize unauthorized immigrants, many progressives didn't pay much attention at the time. And more important, the policy was packaged very differently. Oh, so again, what we've said here, Obama puts the fucking left to sleep. So Obama was doing this horrible shit. And where were the Democrats? Where were the progressives? But now Trump's doing it and everyone's awake. Which is what we said would happen on this show. That Trump is going to put an ugly face on the horrible shit our country's been doing for the last 8 years. And he is. The administration itself, meaning the Obama administration itself, downplayed the aggressiveness of its tactics. It spent most of its time promising that ICE was going after felons, not families. Though it wasn't until November 2014, 6 years after he was elected, 2014, when a Department of Homeland Security memo set restrictive guidelines on when ICE could arrest unauthorized immigrants, that felons, not families, became more or less a reality. So it wasn't until 6 years after the bullshitter Obama's presidency started that he actually implemented the policies he claimed he was. But because it's a change from a period of relative safety, deportations did go down in the final years of the Obama administration's, his second term, not his first. And because of Trump's anti-immigrant rhetoric, it feels like something new, but it's not. So now you want to hear what the bluest senator from the bluest of blue states had to say about ICE? Here, Chris Hayes asks her, should ICE be abolished? Here's what she has to say.
Should ICE exist?
So he asks, can you turn up a little in the room? So he asks, should ISIS exist?
Should ICE exist?
Should ICE exist? Well, certainly, when we're talking about people who have...
Well, certainly. That's the senator from the bluest of blue states. Should ICE exist? This thing we invented after 9/11 that we don't need, that is terrorizing our cities and people of color. And here's a woman of color saying, certainly it should exist. This is our senator from the bluest of blue states, Bernie, inside your Democratic Party.
Should ICE exist?
Should ICE exist? Well, certainly, when we're talking about people who have committed serious and violent crimes, Chris, you know my background. I'm a prosecutor.
Yep.
I believe that there needs to be serious, severe, and swift consequence when people commit serious and violent crimes. One human being kills another human being, a woman is raped, a child is molested, there needs to be serious consequence. And certainly, if they are undocumented, they should be deported if they commit those serious and violent offenses.
We already have a system in place to deal with that. Kamala, you bullshitter, you proud prosecutor. We already have in place. Someone murders someone commits a sexual assault. We already have police to investigate that and prosecute those people. We don't need a federal organization to do that. There's already police in place. And if that person's undocumented and they commit a felony, they're already going to be deported. We don't need another organization, another white supremacist fascist organization. But this is your leading Democrat. She's the most progressive Democrat on immigration in the Senate. This is her, and she's full-throatedly supporting ICE and giving you a bullshit reason for it. This is gaslighting.
Yes, ICE has a purpose. ICE has a role. ICE should exist.
You tell me what kind of a garbage party the Democrats are. You tell me this is who the Democrats want us to vote for president. This is my senator. These are garbage politicians. She is bought and paid for. She is not one of the good ones. She's your enemy. But Bernie wants you to join this party. This is the party Bernie wants you to join. The party where the leading senator from of course we need ICE. These people are murdering people and committing sexual assaults. Did you fucking hear her? She sounds like Trump. This is your resistance. So these are the questions we have for Bernie, and he won't come on the show to answer them. So Bernie's running from progressive news shows. That's a fact. He'll go on, and if you voted for Hillary, he'll go on your show. He'll go on Bill Maher's show and any other show where the host voted for Hillary. He'll go on every week. So there you go. If Kamala Harris is for ICE, I'm not even going to put ice in my fucking Coke anymore. How about that?
You know, Jimmy, I was just going to highlight again how Kamala Harris, when she was the Attorney General, our prison system still exploded.
So
she's such a punitive person.
She was ordered by the state to release because of the overcrowding. She was ordered by a court 3 times to release prisoners. She didn't fucking do it. And her office, you know what their argument was? That it would hurt our prison labor population. That was their argument. I'm not making that up.
So every time there's a fire in the state of California and they need extra people to help,
they get prisoners.
They use prisoners for that.
Prison labor.
They train them, certainly.
Yes.
And these people are trained just like a fire person would be trained, okay? But if they're hurt during while they're helping with this, or they're killed, they will not receive any kind of compensation, nor will their family, if they lose their life while fighting the fire. So, you know, it's free labor, everybody. And that's what we're doing right now. That's our jobs program, the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex. That's where we're getting our labor.
So this is your Democratic Party. This is what's wrong with the country. We have 2 right-wing parties propping up a racist criminal justice system, propping up a racist ICE. This is unbelievable. This is not leadership. This is the opposite of leadership. When people are screaming their heads off about what's happening right now with babies literally being ripped away from their mothers as they're nursing. And she says, of course we need them. They're rapists. This is what she said. She sounds like Trump. That's your fucking liberal progressive from a blue state? Senator Kamala Harris? If there was any justice in this world, Kamala Harris would be in prison for not prosecuting Steve Mnuchin. She's corrupt as they come. I got no problem saying that about her. She's corrupt as they come. And if you're against Trump because he's corrupt, you got to be against her because she's corrupt. And this is living proof of it. She's probably cool with ICE because she's taking money from private prisons that they're putting those kids in. I'll bet you any money she is. Look up, Arnold, do a Google search. Does Kamala Harris take private prison money? She's got to. Why would she say something so fucking offensive like that? She would say, no, these immigrants are murdering people and raping people and committing sexual assaults. Of course we need to have ICE. And they need to be deported. What? That's your fucking answer? That was her answer to that question. You heard it. I just played it for you. You want to hear it again? It's horrible.
Should ICE exist?
Should ICE exist? Well, certainly, when we're talking about people who have committed serious and violent crimes, you know, I mean, Chris, you know my background. I'm a prosecutor.
Yep.
I believe that there needs to be serious, severe, and swift consequence when people commit serious and violent crimes. One human being kills another human being, a woman is raped, a child is molested, there needs to be serious consequence. And certainly, if they are undocumented, they should be deported if they commit those serious and violent offenses. So, yes, ICE has a purpose. ICE has a role. ICE should exist.
How did we deal with those problems before ICE, Kamala? How did we deal with those when an immigrant committed a crime before ICE was invented? What did we do? We just didn't prosecute it? Or did the police investigate it and then prosecute those people? So that's Kamala Harris, again, doing what Democrats do, corporate fucking stooges. They gaslight you. She's gaslighting you. And I wish I had the rest of that clip to hear what corporate stooge Chris Hayes had to say, because I bet it wasn't worth a shit. This is your fucking corporatist gangbang. This is Chris Hayes getting $30,000 a day to interview someone who's also getting fucking millions of dollars from the same donors to fucking lie to you, to say we need ICE. The next live Jimmy Dore show is July 1st in Portland, Oregon, July 15th in Chicago, and July 27th in Burbank, California. Go to jimmydoorecomedy.com for a link for all those tickets to those shows. Plus, don't forget, become a patron to help support independent media. We give you hours of bonus content every week. Plus, every Saturday at 2 p.m., we do our Solid Chat Saturday. It's our live stream on Saturdays, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Stick around for that. And please make sure you're subscribed. Even though you think you are subscribed to this channel, they're unsubscribing people every day. Just check. Click subscribe and then click the bell to make sure they send you a notification when we're dropping videos. Otherwise, they won't tell you. Thanks for your support.